life. But now, a stark warning from the organisation which holds them to account. We should be very worried about the scale of the financial challenges ahead.
The Accounts Commission says radical change is needed to maintain vital services. And it's urgent that local authorities finalise a new funding deal with the Scottish Government. Maura Kinneborough reports.
Warming up for the next show, with this Livingston venue's at risk of closure. Owned by the council, operated by an arm's-length company, it can't afford to keep open. The story's similar across Scotland. As more council facilities are cut back, the impact on communities is clear.
Our young people describe this as a home from home. It really provides a vital service, and I think the idea of taking that away from them and taking that safe space, taking that place where young people from across West Lothian can really grow and discover talents in themselves and be supported, that would be a massive loss.
Many communities have been campaigning to keep local services going, though this read-in protest in Aberdeen did not stop 6 libraries being shut earlier this spring. With more money ring-fenced for national priorities, the public spending watchdog says councils will need to work together and with government to meet local needs better.
2/3 of councils are digging into their reserves to help meet their budgets for the coming year, and really something more radical is needed. So they need to start thinking about sharing services with other councils, but what's also needed is for the Scottish Government to implement its new deal with the local authorities, because that will give them flexibility and a longer planning horizon.
Recycling and bin collections disrupted. There's not enough money for this Moneyfeast centre, one of 2 to close in this area this past weekend.
It seems to be that the council are whittling away everything that they used to do, and it's just less and less all the time. So it is a poor show.
You find some councils can budget there wisely, and other councils just seem to do it ad hoc, as it were.
This one was convenient, but they haven't been taking general waste for 2 or 3 years now, so there was only a limited amount of stuff that we could actually take in. I'm not dreadfully cut up about it.
There's a lot of the older generation stay here and they don't have cars, and there's nowhere. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go to get rid of their stuff?
The watchdog wants councils to share more services to save money and to have more honest conversations with communities about what they can afford to provide. The councils group COSLA and the Scottish Government insist they are committed to the new deal for longer-term funding. They say it would give councils more flexibility and greater accountability on their local spending. The Accounts Commission warns without urgent radical reform, even deeper cuts will come to Scotland's council services. Maura Kinneborough, BBC News.
Well, one council cutback in Glasgow was a move in 2021 to refuse collections every 3 weeks for many properties. Since then, the number of pest control calls have risen. A Freedom of Information request suggests Glasgow saw a third more calls last year than the year before. The GMB union believes the increase is down to cuts.
The council says it's hired 40 new permanent full-time members of staff working in refuse collection this year. Residents and pest control services alike are aware of the rising numbers of rodents.
When I go out to put my bins out, I see them there, but I can also see them from my kitchen window when I'm looking out onto the bins.
Last year we had the bin strikes that did increase the numbers of rodent activity, especially in Edinburgh. We did have a lot more calls a few weeks after, once we seen an increase round about then. But however, it's very hard to say exactly what is causing the increase.
Well, joining us now to tell us more is Chris Mitchell. He's a refuse collector in Glasgow and also represents the GMB union. Chris, good evening.
Thank you very much.
Just give us a sense, day to day, as a refuse collector, what you're seeing.
It's absolutely horrendous. Said it before, I've said this 2 or 3 years ago. The cuts are only exasperating this. I warned the councils 2 or 3 years ago that if they don't improve or invest in services, particularly during lockdown, we're going to face a public crisis. I was called a fabricator. They said I was spreading fear in communities. And what's happened now is obviously there's statistics come out and 30% increase within that. So it's no surprise to me. And I believe at this point now, Glasgow is in crisis and Glasgow needs a bailout. See, regardless whether you're a refuse collector, whether you're a carer, whether you're a school cleaner, a school caterer, these are the fabric of society. And these are the ones that are bearing the brunt of these cuts. That story only scratches the surface. But if we don't deal with this now, this crisis is going to become a public health crisis. Somebody's going to be seriously hurt.
Well, tell us about the scale of the problem with regards to the rats, because we were hearing there from someone who can see the rats scurrying about from her bedroom window. Are you seeing rats every single time you're collecting rubbish?
Every day. It used to be 2 or 3 times a week. Now we're coming across rats every single day. There was a statistic done as well that somebody said that they're not taken to the bait either anymore. And it could potentially cost the environment £70 million to make new bait over a 10-year period. But again, if you don't heavily invest within cleansing, obviously public health and obviously pest control, this is a perfect storm. And Audit Scotland said councils are in crisis. This is a crisis in itself. We need to deal with this immediately to protect our members and protect members of the public. Leptospirosis, Welsh disease, can kill you.
Yeah, is that something that people would get from rats? And is it a case of making your job just so much more unpleasant? How are they actually getting into the bins themselves?
Well, they say they're called super rats now. I think they've done a survey across 4 major cities right across the UK. 150 million rats have descended. They're chewing through cables. They're chewing through the plastic bins that you've seen there. We've had them in people's houses. We've had them in people's shops. So it's wrecking the economy. It's wrecking the economy. I came on here 2 weeks ago talking about a rat tsar in New York. So they're taking this extremely seriously in New York, and they've appointed a rat tsar. Why is Glasgow not doing that? But we need to continue to fund public services because these individuals are at the forefront to try and combat this.
What Glasgow are doing, though, is they've taken on 40 extra refuse collectors, they say. Are you seeing a difference? Are you hoping that will make a difference?
We campaigned for the 40 refuse collectors. It's good that they're coming in, but that took over a 2 or 3 year period, a campaign and highlighting stuff like this. It's only a sticking plaster. Look at the size of Glasgow. 40 doesn't cover it. We need more. Anybody who leaves the cleansing should be replaced immediately because public health is a crisis.
What do you think this is all down to? Because it can't be just one thing that people are leaving a little bit more rubbish outside their houses and their flats. What is this down to? Is it an amalgamation of different problems?
Well, definitely. 2 years ago, everybody was furloughed. People were working from home, so we're generating more rubbish. Steady investing in services, they were making sufficiency savings, as I call it, cuts. Moving to a free weekly bin collection only exasperated it. Charging for bulk, well, people couldn't afford it during the cost of living crisis, was giving rats shelter. We went to the council, we told the council, as I said, they said I was fabricating and I was creating horror within communities. I was just merely stating facts. So it was a perfect storm. And now they find themselves in a situation where the public are now seeing it, our members are now seeing it, and somebody's going to be seriously hurt.
Very quickly, Chris, can householders do anything to make this situation any better?
Continue to phone up pest control if you can. Continue to make sure you bag your rubbish and put it in a safe place where you think it's safe enough for rats can't chew through it.
OK. Well, we're grateful for you coming in tonight and telling us more, Chris. Thank you.